One thing that I could say about the brother Farrakhan, I followed him when I was younger. But damn, man, you got Malcolm and you got Khalid.
No.
You know, you wait a minute now. He in his day and time, he said some shit that was so inflammatory about Malcolm, man, that, you know, he had to even come out and apologize for it, man. He had to apologize for it because he know that in his position of leadership, he had younger Muslims that was looking up to him. And he said it himself that he might have put out information that might have, you know, influenced others to participate on that information, man. So when you got Malcolm on your plate and you also got Khalid on your plate, man, we ain't talking about just two little bitty soldiers. We're talking about some of the greatest that we had on the front line. And you can't take those type of individuals off the front line if you're intending to win. I understand what you're saying. But you also have to take in mind that these are two of our greatest. These ain't no little bush soldiers. These are literally generals that you might have had, you know, something to do in their demise. So we have to, sometimes Farrakhan has not been put on the table. He got to be put on the table just like everybody else. He is not above criticism. And, you know, he deserves to be criticized just like everybody else. But nobody seemed to want to put him on the hot seat. And he deserves it, man. He's just like anybody else. So if he could put Khalid on the hot seat, he could put Malcolm on the hot seat, he deserves to be on that hot seat too.
And once we can stand up like a man on our own feet, we stop begging the white man. And we stop apologizing to the white man. We stop compromising with the white man.
There's a restrictive law in the Nation of Islam that a lot of people are unaware of. Malcolm made some mistakes, and he had to get sat down. Of course, the people love Malcolm, but the people don't know the restrictive law of Islam.
Right.
So, Khalid Muhammad fell under that and had to be sat down. Of course, the people didn't like it, but Khalid Muhammad knows the restrictive law. I know the restrictive law. There's just certain things you just cannot say and do. That's just the rules. So if you want to be a part of this black organization, you just have to follow the rule, plain and simple. And it wasn't for us to deal with. It was for the Nation of Islam leadership to deal with. That's just the bottom line. I don't care how we like it or how we don't like it. That's just the bottom line. I've made that mistake. Khalid has made that mistake. Malcolm made that mistake. I could go on and brothers and sisters that I know that are no longer in the Nation of Islam have made that similar mistake and got sat down. So it's just part of the restrictive law.
Well, do you think? I mean, but let me ask you a question, because you know I'm gonna be honest. You know, I love Khalid Muhammad, man, to the bottom of my heart. And what the thing is that he had a large following amongst the young black men, not only in America, man. We talking about around the world. And when Farrakhan Nation of Islam sat him down like that, they kind of broke a lot of spirit amongst the young black youth. So do you think that, you know, it could have been another way that he could have done that, man? Because that really, man, drove a wedge.
I just wanted to comment on what Griff was talking about regarding Minister Farrakhan. And, you know, look, I don't like beating around the bush or whatever, and I'm not trying to so-called blast anybody per se, or blast any type of movement or religion or or organization, whatever you want to call it. But I must say, when you get up there and you talk about Malcolm and you talk about Khalid, Muhammed, you know, and I'm hearing all this talk about they broke the rules and they didn't quite do it right as far as what was the protocol. They went against the script. They didn't follow a rank and file. They just broke it, so they had to be dealt with. Okay, let's talk about how they were dealt with. Murdered in front of your mother, in front of your wife, in front of your children, in front of the entire black population of Harlem. Is that the way you deal with someone by murdering them?
I don't think.
It was Islam what happened to the whole daggone situation, man. Because if you teach me that the white man is the devil, right, and I go out and say that and you punish me, you're wrong. It was Islam what happened to the whole daggone situation, man. Because if you teach me that the white man is the devil, right, and I go out and say that and you punish me, you're wrong.
My fault with Farrakhan is he's a wonderful speaker. I mean, the best we've ever had, I think. But it stops there. Where are the programs for black people? Where is the job training? Where's the the infrastructure? Where are the schools, the hospitals? But yet you look at the wealth he's amassed, by selling a dream, and the people are not able to, engage in that. So, that's my problem with that.
When Farrakhan was in charge of that paper, and he put derogatory cartoons, he okayed that shit. Well, excuse me. I mean, with Malcolm's head chopped off. His head is chopped off of his body, rolling down the street. Farrakhan came on and apologized for the information. No, he might not have pulled the trigger, but he was in a leadership role, knowing that there were younger Muslims out there that was feeding off of that information. He knew that. So don't try to get him up off the hook. You got Khalid and Malcolm on your hand. And when you talking about Baba Clark, when Malcolm left the Nation of Islam, he went into the bosom of Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben, because those were the only people in Harlem that he could get any type of assistance and advice from. So Dr. Clark seen what was going on behind the scenes. So you wasn't there. Dr. Clark, that's why Dr. Clark is so hard on Farrakhan ass, because he know the truth. So don't come in here, man, 40 years after the what then went down and debate Dr. Clark. He know. I can buy a final call just 2 months ago. They got our rock from the front cover to
That's right.
with R4 on the back page.
That's
man,
right.
Don't come in here, man, and tell me nothing about Farrakhan. Farrakhan is an Arab sluggy. That's all he is. Now you can take that to the bank.
True.
He's trying to drive the Nation of Islam into Orthodox Islam, just like Wallace Dean Muhammad. All of them trying to take the Nation of Islam, which they is doing, into Orthodox Islam. He's an Arab.
True.
Tell the Nation of Islam to speak out about Darfur. Tell them to speak out about the Arab atrocity that's going on in Africa.
If you don't have a certain economy, then you can't control your food, you can't control your stressors, you can't control the amount of cholesterol that your body creates. And until we go ahead and do this, and stop looking to people, because you can get TD Snakes, you can get Farrakhan, he'll tell you right in his name, he's Fried, the con man. I'm just saying, as long as we got these snakes and pimps talking about black nationalism and then tie their religion on to it, people ain't gonna never get black nationalism. They gonna get the religion, and they gonna shut up, and they gonna sit down, and they gonna pray, and they not gonna realize that this will be a physical war one day. But first you gotta fight it on the mental front to see which side you're gonna fight on.
Right.
And that's what's happening. Farrakhan, he'll tell you right in his name, he's Fried. The con man. I'm just saying, as long as we got these snakes and pimps talking about black nationalism and then tie their religion on to it, people ain't gonna never get black nationalism. They're gonna get the religion. Farrakhan, he tell you right in his name, he's for fraud. The con man. I'm just saying, as long as we got these snakes and pimps talking about black nationalism and then tie their religion on to it, people ain't gonna never get black nationalism. They're gonna get the religion.